joining us tonight for our last webinar panel of the week. You've saved the best for last. If you're just joining this one, you're getting to hear from students tonight. And so a couple housekeeping things before we get started. For all the participants here tonight, I'll just ask you to look at the bottom of your screen and click the Q&A box and start submitting questions to us that way through the Q&A box. We'll get to as many as we can, and I'll direct them to the students. And at the top right of your screen, you can toggle between a speaker view and the gallery view, just in case you're not familiar with Zoom. So without further ado, I'll throw it over to our students so they can introduce themselves, and then we can get started. So let's see, who wants to kick us off? Clara, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. All right, so do you want just like a little bit about myself, or just like where I'm from, things like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What year are you? Let's see, what year are you? We'll do it like we do at, you can tell everyone about lunch table introductions. So, where you're from, what year you are, and your favorite flavor of ice cream. How about that?
Okay, so my name is Clara Getty. I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania. I'm in 11th grade, and my favorite flavor of ice cream is chocolate peanut butter.
Awesome. Caroline, what about you?
Hi, I'm Caroline Dillard. I'm from Hagerstown, Maryland, and I'm also in 11th grade, and I like chocolate mousse tracks.
Cool. Isonah, why don't you go next?
Hi, my name is Isonah. I am a 10th grader. I am actually from South Africa, but I currently live in Baltimore, Maryland. And my favorite flavor of ice cream is vanilla.
Awesome. Who do we have next here on the screen? Ben, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Rhyne. I'm a new sophomore this year. I'm from Stallstown, Pennsylvania, and my favorite ice cream flavor has got to be mint chocolate chip.
Awesome. Andrew, what about you?
Hi guys, I'm Andrew. I'm in 11th grade. It's my third year here. I'm from Princeton, New Jersey, and yeah, my favorite flavor of ice cream is Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia. So
nice. And last but not least, Caroline.
Hi guys, my name's Caroline. I'm from State College, Pennsylvania, and I'm a senior. And my favorite kind of ice cream is mint chocolate chip.
Awesome. Thanks so much. For the participants who are just joining us now, a reminder to submit your questions using the Q&A button at the bottom. And again, I'm Anna Crouch, the Director of Admission, and then these are all current students who are not on campus right now and joining us from afar. So let's get started. We've got a couple questions here. I know something that a lot of students want to know when they're thinking about, joining a school is like, what does a typical day look like? Caroline, do you want to tell us what your typical day looks like, kind of from start to finish?
Hey, well, yeah, so usually I wake up at like 7:45-ish, get ready, leave my dorm, which is South Cottage, walk over to the dining hall, get an omelet, head to my classes. We have classes in the morning, and then lunch starts at noon, 11:55 noon. So have lunch, and then after lunch we have a help period where you can go meet with your teachers if you need to, or just hang out with your friends, get some homework done, whatever. And then more classes in the afternoon, and then after that we have PGA, which is a sport, dance, theater, whatever you want it to be, community engagement. So I play lacrosse, so right now I'd be going to lacrosse practice. Sad I'm not at Mercersburg to do that. But and then usually after practice on Monday nights we have Monday night dinner where we dress up formal attire and have family style meals. But on the other nights we have buffet meals. So I'd usually go with my team and have dinner, and then head back to my dorm, do homework, hang out, whatever, go to the library, just have fun in the dorm. So yeah.
Awesome. Does anyone want to share any other highlights about a typical day for you that you think are different than Caroline's?
I think something you often see, and I'm sure you see this other places too, but I know some people's schedules differ. So someone might have a free period in the morning, like a morning free period, or a free period throughout the day. So I think that definitely adds some flexibility for you during your typical school day. So during your free, it's totally up to you, as the name would suggest. You are free and you have your freedom to do work, or maybe you want to take a short nap and rejuvenate for your next class, or the sky's the limit really, and you can treat that free period however you would like.
Thanks, Ben, for sharing that. Yeah. So we've got lots of questions coming in. Let's do a little quick answer here. We've got one question about what's your favorite part about Mercersburg? Andrew, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. I think one of my favorite parts are definitely some like the bigger traditions we have. Every year, start of the year, step songs. I just love like coming together as a school, especially within our sports teams, or like our fall sports teams, and like getting together and singing. And then after, there's a big bonfire. And that's something like we do every year during Family and Alumni Weekend. And I've loved it ever since I've came here. So that's one of my favorite parts. But yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else can jump in and share their a favorite part. It could be small, like an everyday thing, or something bigger, like a tradition, like step songs.
For me, I'd say honestly, you get to spend so much time with your friends. So that's the biggest thing for me, is whether you're like doing homework or just hanging out, you always have someone you can hang out with or just be around.
To go off of that, I'd say the people for sure, from my friends to teachers and coaches. I think being able to be around your teachers in the dorm and just like see them on the weekends on campus, like they're always at sporting events, whatever. It's just, I think that's really a great part about Mercersburg, is they're not just your teachers, they're more than that.
Yeah, going off of that too, I think my favorite part is just like the sense of family that it really is. You know, we all eat together, we're all in the dorms together. So you really, obviously you make those really great connections with your friends, but you really do make those great connections with your teachers too. And that's a really important life skill to have, especially as you go to college, is learning how to build those relationships with teachers and just people, and just build relationships that can help you in the future. So that's definitely my favorite part, is the sense of family.
I agree with that. Definitely. I was going to say an example. There was one weekend night that actually we asked, it was about actually 11 o'clock, which is when we're supposed to be in our dorms on the weekends. And we just asked one of our faculty members if we could go out to get something to eat from, I think it was McDonald's. It was a group of friends. And like our teacher was so glad to bring us there. So that's like, and that's an aspect of the family bond that we have.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Going off of that, Isonah, someone asked, what do you guys normally do on the weekends? Clara, do you want to share about what do you guys typically do on the weekends?
Sure. So it really depends on who you are and what you're interested in and involved in. If you play a sport, you probably have some kind of game or something on the weekend or on Saturday. So your Saturday will probably start out, you know, some kind of athletic event. And before that, Friday night. So basically we have like PGA in the afternoon after classes on Friday. And then after dinner, pretty much the whole night is up to you what you want to do. So Friday and Saturday nights, our student activities director, her name is Trini. She's amazing. She always has something going on either in the student center or on campus on Friday and Saturday nights. So there's definitely like school-sponsored activities, or you can just hang out in the dorm with your friends. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just have everyone in the same room. Sometimes you can order food from a local restaurant and get it delivered and just hang out and eat a big pizza, you know. So that's definitely one of my favorite parts, is just weekend nights in the dorm. But then, back to Saturday, sorry. So something athletic, usually on Saturdays. Saturday night, same kind of thing as Friday. And then Sunday, a lot of students just do homework and get caught up for the week, or maybe just if you have a lighter homework load. It really depends on what classes you take too, how much work you have to do on the weekends. But, you know, if you have a lighter load, then maybe just going downtown and going to the coffee shop, or going to Romeo's or something, which is the pizza place. So it really does depend. But yeah, going downtown, fun things like that, especially when the weather's nice. People really like to be outside, and just throw a big towel down on Tippett's Beach and just hang out or watch a movie at night. So it's a lot of fun.
Awesome, thanks. Does anyone have anything they want to add about a normal weekend for you at Mercersburg?
A lot of the times, we'll like figure out things to do. I know me and my friends like to be outside, so if it's like a Friday night and we have nothing to do, we'll play like capture the flag out on the quad, or we'll play like spike ball outside on Sundays, and just come up with games to do.
Awesome, thanks. So I know that there are a lot of questions coming in about classes. Let's see, does anyone want to take a stab at this one? What if you get behind in a class, or you feel like it's too hard? What do you do? Caroline Kranich, I see you nodding your head. Do you wanna take that one?
Yeah, sure. So I think Mercersburg, I mean, I went to public school my freshman year before coming to Mercersburg, and the difference between that and the access I have to my teachers at Mercersburg is like crazy. I felt like my freshman year, I was always sort of doing stuff on my own, trying to figure it out. And at Mercersburg, there's so much support. I mentioned the help period after lunch. That's a great time to go and meet with your teachers when you need to. Really though, whenever you need help, if you just send an email to your teacher, go up to them at lunch, they're always available. We also have help centers, and there's a writing center, science and math center, language center, and they're open pretty much every weekday night. So you can just go there, and there will always be people there to help you out. Also in the dorm, like my chemistry teacher 10th grade year did dorm duty in the dorm I was in. So I was always working with her for help. So there's really so much help that you can get if you need it.
Awesome, thanks, Caroline. Another question that came in that's related is about the homework amount, and if you've seen the homework amount increase as you've gotten older, and then also, do you find the amount of homework overwhelming? I don't know, Andrew, if you wanna take that.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely attest. Over the 3 years, it's definitely not gotten easier. But yeah, homework definitely increases as you go on each year, depending on also class load and course load that you're taking. But also as you go on, you start to pick up other responsibilities outside of school and stuff like that. And I think one of the things is that you start to learn and really pick up on time management skills. And that's been really helpful for me. So there have been times where it has been a lot in one night, but I think it's always manageable. There's a lot of flexibility in free periods and after school. We always have time to finish. So that's what I have to say.
Awesome. Does anyone want to add on there?
I think teachers are also really forgiving. I know my English teacher, he's always like, if you can't get a paper in on time, just talk to me and we'll figure it out. So I think if you have too much homework one night and you just talk to a teacher, they'll totally be happy to extend a deadline or something.
Awesome. Anyone else want to chime in?
I was just going to say communication is key. Just making sure that you're keeping in touch with your teacher and they know what situations you're going through. I mean, as Caroline said, one night you may have too much homework, or you could have a sporting event off campus. So as long as you're, as I said, keeping in touch with your teacher, you should be able to manage whatever amount of homework they give you and cut it down if you need to.
Yeah, and Ben, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I mean, I think for a lot of students who come, it can be hard, maybe or strange at first, to send your teachers emails and to ask for extensions or things like that. But do you want to speak to that a little bit, Ben, about like how it actually is expected and is encouraged?
Yeah, of course. I think here our community is so welcoming and so I don't want to say forgiving, but all your teachers are really here for your benefit. They're not here to kill you or bog you down with a bunch of homework. All the teachers here, and I'm sure I can attest to the fact that they all are willing to accept your emails, and they actually enjoy getting them and love seeing you come in to help so they can help you. I just think it's so easy to go and approach someone and have a face-to-face conversation and let them know how you're doing. So I think it's something special we get to see here at Mercersburg.
I also want to add something. So I don't know the students like grade wise, but if you're coming in as a freshman or I believe a new 10th grader, you also have a study hall your first term if you're 10th grader, and then I think like the first term and half of your second term if you're a 9th grader. And that's also to help you time manage. And so you can learn how to use your time productively to get all the work that you need done, figure out a schedule, figure out like a system that works for you. So that's also pretty helpful.
Perfect. Isonah, do you want to keep going actually with this next question? Maybe you can answer what it's like off campus, or how's the town? Do you guys go into town? How's it, what do you do when you go to town?
Okay, so I'll be honest, my freshman year, I didn't really go into town that often. I sometimes went to go to Dollar General, which is like the store that has pretty much all the food and everything you would want. I didn't go that much into town my freshman year, but this year especially, I've gotten into going to town, and it's like really, really nice. The people are awesome in the town that I've talked to. There's a cafe, One North, that a lot of students go to on the weekend to do their homework. There's Stoners, Romeos, all these places to eat. So the town's pretty calm. There's also a thrift shop that I've been going to with some friends, which is pretty nice. But yeah, the town is really nice, and the people are. I've only had good interactions with the people in town. So.
Yeah, going off of that, if you would have asked me maybe 2 years ago if there was one thing I could change about Mercersburg, and I did get asked this on a tour, I would have said that I wish there was more there. I wish there was, I wish it was more more restaurants, more things to do, things like that. But now I just wouldn't trade it for the world, because I love being in that rural environment. Not necessarily that I want to stay in this kind of area my whole life, but I think for high school, it's just, I've really grown to appreciate the beautiful mountains and the nature around us. And you just really get to focus on who you're with and just the beautiful scenery around you. And so I wouldn't trade it for anything. So.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Clara. So a couple people have asked the question, which is very important. Why did you choose Mercersburg? So I don't know who wants to tackle that question first. I know you all have different perspectives and different backgrounds. Some of you are probably choosing between a day school in Mercersburg or from other boarding schools. But when you think about answering this question, if you could also address what you think sets Mercersburg apart from other boarding schools, that would be awesome. So who wants to go first? Now, I see Ben. He's moving to unmute. What do you think?
I'll start it off. When I first started my high school search, I think the one thing I was looking for, that I had gotten a taste of in my previous smaller private school, was just a big sense of community, a sense of the fact that I'm leaving my home here with my family and getting a new family at school, where I'll be staying full time for the near future. And that's, as soon as I stepped on campus, that was the first thing I noticed, was that it seems like everyone here is so welcoming and they're so kind to each other. It seems like everyone just can find their people in just such a short amount of time. And I'll never forget the one class I had visited my first day. As soon as the class had ended and we left the Lenfest, our library building, there were at least 5 kids in the class that all came up to me and the rest of my group and asked where we were from and how do we find Mercersburg, and that's what really set me off and made me realize how special a place Mercersburg was.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Just the sense of community. Mercersburg was actually the first boarding school that I toured and looked at. And so it really set a high bar. And I'll give a few people some shout outs. Like when I'm really interested in studio art. So when we went to the Bergen and toured the Bergen, which is absolutely beautiful, and we did not see any arts facility that even compared to the Bergen. Mrs. Getty, who's the studio art teacher, just came up to us, had a really nice conversation with us, and we just remembered her the whole time. And my parents were like, "Oh, I can just see you working in that studio with Mrs. Getty." And she's like one of the teachers that I'm closest with now. I absolutely love her, and her husband is my history teacher. So just those people giving you those impressions. I remember having lunch with Mrs. Crouch in 7th grade for spring preview day. That was my first ever family style meal in the dining hall. So just having those relationships and people reaching out to you when you come visit, that's what really made an impression on me. So.
For me, it was a little different. So I have 2 older siblings who are 23 and 21, and they both went to Mercersburg. So I kind of grew up like seeing what they were doing, and they would come back and tell me what they were doing. And I saw the traditions like Andrew was talking about, step songs, and they would talk about like school dances, dance concerts, plays, and I would go to some of those, and that just made me like want to be there, and I could not wait to experience that for myself. So I looked at a couple other schools, but I knew Mercersburg was somewhere because I'd been hearing about it so much. It was somewhere I wanted to be.
Yeah, and my experience was actually different from Caroline's, where I didn't have a sibling come to Mercersburg, and I didn't know much about Mercersburg like before coming here. So growing up in my area, we have some bigger name private schools, Lawrenceville, Petty, Hun. So I grew up like going to these summer camps and having exposure to all these other private schools. So immediately stepping onto campus and learning about all these traditions, especially since I'm a swimmer that are among the swim team, and how deeply like rooted this community is, and that's kind of what set apart Mercersburg for me, at least. So
for me, my mom and my 2 uncles went to Mercersburg, so I sort of always had this idea that I wanted to go to Mercersburg. And I think whenever I went for my tour and got on campus and met so many people, saw so many people, that I was like, wow, like they're like doing all these things that I want to do. I was like, this is definitely the place I want to be. So.
For me, I never really considered Mercersburg till like I went to one of the groups that Mercersburg went to for independent school boarding schools. And so I was looking at a lot like higher, bigger boarding schools like Lawrenceville. My cousin had gone to Exeter, so I was thinking of going there. But when I came to the campus, people were extremely kind, and it was something that was surprising to me. I didn't really expect it. There's always a cordial sense in schools, but sometimes you don't always get that genuine kindness from the students and the faculty, and that bond of family. And maybe that's because Mercersburg is also a boarding school. But when I visited, it was something, I'd gone to day school, so it was something I never really experienced before. And I was also, as an African, going to boarding school is pretty much common as high school. My mom went to boarding school. Like all my other family members have gone to boarding school. So it was something I wanted to do, and Mercersburg was a perfect fit for me. So.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Those are great answers. So a couple people have asked actually too, what's one thing you would change about Mercersburg, or, you know, on the flip side of what your favorite thing is, maybe what's your least favorite thing? And then, so, you know, maybe one person or 2 people want to answer that question. And then the next thing I'll ask one of you to answer is, do you enjoy sit-down meals? So you can be be thinking about that. Anyone is there anything that you guys have top of mind that you would change about Mercersburg? Anyone?
I think it's hard to pinpoint something you would change. It's such an amazing school, but I think one thing I would like to see, I know some people have mentioned the town and how approachable the people are, but I think it'd be nice to incorporate an activity where the school people and the students in the school get to interact with the people in the town more often. I just think that would add an even bigger sense of community to our campus and just give students a new experience that I don't think anyone has. I don't know. I just think it's uncharted territory that could be investigated for sure.
I appreciate that, Ben. Anyone else have anything to add? Clara?
I wish there were avocados in the dining hall, but there's not. I do love sit-down meals. Not even necessarily that, I think the whole model of it is that like you meet a lot of people at different tables, which is true. But for me, it's just the energy in the room. Like when you walk in, I like always get a salad when I first walk in. And so I always see a bunch of my teachers at the salad bar and they're just always like, how's your day going? Which is really great to just catch up with them. And then just like your friends will come visit you at your table. And like lunch announcements, I don't know. I just feel like I just love the energy in the room when everyone's together and I really miss it right now. So.
I agree. I really like family style meals and sit down, especially like she was saying, you meet a lot of new people. And so when lunch assignment or table assignments come out and you might like look at who's at your table and kind of think like, oh, like none of my friends are sitting at my table. Like it's probably going to be boring or something. But then you sit down and after one lunch, you're having conversations with people you've never talked to about the randomest things. And it's just a lot of fun. And you also get to meet a lot of teachers that you wouldn't normally talk to. Like if you don't have them in class, if you end up at their lunch table, you can talk with them and they get to know you. So it's just more friendly faces around campus.
And going off of that too, I love how like teachers' tables kind of become like places, like if that makes any sense, and maybe someone can like help me explain this, but like if you are assigned to a table and it's like so-and-so's table, you're like, oh yeah, I'm at like this teacher's table, and it's like kind of a destination, if that makes sense. Like teachers kind of build like a sense of community like within their table sort of. I don't know if anyone wants to help me explain that better, but yeah, I love that too. So.
Yeah, I agree. You get pretty excited. Obviously, you're excited to be at any teacher's tables, but there's definitely teachers who like they're at like the cool table or something like that. I guess that's the best way to explain it. So when you see whose faculty you're at, you're like excited because you know it's going to be fun, or you know you're going to have like funny conversations and things like that.
Yeah, and just for all the participants to get a full sense of what it's like, the whole school eats lunch at the same time. So all the teachers and all the students, so around 550 people are in the dining hall at one time. So I always explain it as organized chaos because it's a short amount of time, but everyone knows where they're sitting. Everyone knows where to get the food. There's different salad bars, different stations where you can get food, and then a hot meal is always brought to your table. And so you're at a table for 2 weeks and you then rotate, but that's lunch every day. Breakfast is just grab and go or sit wherever you want, and buffet dinners are the same way, where you can sit wherever you want and come between 5:30 and 7. So the other thing about lunch is that there is a table proctor, and so that person is kind of helping generate conversation and making assignments of like who's going to get the food and do all of those things during lunch. So, each table feels different and is different depending on who is assigned to it. And it's randomly assigned, so you never know. Okay, so this is a great question. Isonah, do you want to answer this? What's the dress code like?
The dress code is, I actually went to a school that was uniform before. For my whole life, I've usually been to schools that wear uniform, but at Mercersburg, it's pretty standard. You just wear standard dress, which means you have to be presentable, ready for school. You're going to class, but it's not anything too strict. Just, I don't know, wear a nice pair of pants and a shirt or a skirt, and a nice top, good shoes. Yeah.
Anyone want to jump in, say anything else about the dress code? Caroline?
I think
Kranich?
the only other like big thing is no jeans, but other than that, I don't think it's very hard to like get an outfit together in the morning. Not too
Blue
strict.
jeans.
So.
You can wear colored jeans, you just can't wear blue
Yeah.
jeans.
And that's just during the class day. You can wear jeans to dinner or on the weekend. What else? Anything else about, and you guys already touched on the fact that Monday night is typically semi-formal. So you're dressed up when you're going to Monday night dinner, unless for some reason it's a buffet or, you know, it's snowing outside and they say casual dress. Yeah, and the dress code is really just standard dress during the class day, but then after classes end, you can be in athletic wear or, you know, more casual attire. Okay, so what else? Clubs and activities. Does anyone want to share about any of the clubs or activities that you're involved in? I know there are a lot of options.
Yeah, I'll comment on this one.
Cool.
Well, this is actually this is my first year at Mercersburg, and part of the year I'll never forget was when I first walked into the student center one evening. It was towards the beginning of the year, and they had a whole bunch of booths set up advertising all the different clubs of the school. And I think it was very cool to see how diverse and how many different options you have. So there was anywhere from a spike ball club to a gaming club. I'm actually in a news club. I'm a news editor, and I'm also in mindfulness club. There's a drip club, which is like a fashion club. There's just so many different options to choose from, and provides different activities for you throughout your school week that I definitely think are enjoyable. So
There's like 2 or 3 like publishing places on campus. I don't know how to word that. But so we have Yearbook, the News, and then Blue Review. So those are 3 that meet weekly on, I think News meets on Wednesdays, Yearbook meets Thursdays and Sundays, and I think Blue Review meets also on Sundays. So the Blue Review is a arts like magazine type or arts book. So it publishes different pieces of literature, paintings, sculptures, any type of art from the students and the people at Mercersburg, and then it's published at the end of the year. And then the newspaper, a new copy is sent out each week, and it has articles that students write. There's the Hustle and Bustle page, which does faces from the crowd, and so it'll take different people each week and ask them questions just so you can get to know people. And then the yearbook obviously produces the yearbook at the end of the year, but they work throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna piggy off that. Like the thing I found was amazing was that we have so many clubs like Spike Ball, and if there isn't a club for you, the nice thing is that you can go grab a friend and you can actually make a club, and we're really supportive in that way. I think you need to get some faculty signatures and stuff, but I've seen clubs like Spike Ball Club, even recently Fencing Club was made. So if there isn't a club for you, you can make one, and that's something I thought was really cool.
To add to that, I'm actually the co-founder of the French Club this year. We brought that back after like 5 years or 4 years. It was there before, but we brought it back, and so we just started, and it's pretty cool. And I'm also a member of and one of the leaders of BSU, which is the Black Student Union, and we host a lot of activities on campus. And at the beginning of this year, we actually brought Ernest Green to campus, who is one of the Little Rock 9, and he came to speak to the whole school, faculty, students, and parents. So yeah, the clubs have a lot of involvement on campus. So.
Someone asked if you have to miss sports on days that you have clubs. I don't know if anyone wants to clarify how clubs and activities fit into your daily schedule. Caroline Kranich?
Yeah. So it sort of depends for each club. As Caroline Dillard mentioned, like yearbook and like the news, they meet at nighttime during the week. Each club is really different. A lot of clubs meet on Sundays, and Sundays we don't have sports. So that's a great day for clubs to meet. But I've missed yearbook before for like games and stuff, and it's fine. You just like contact whomever's in charge and you're good. So I mean, yes, you don't want to like miss your club, but usually they're on Sundays and it's easy. So.
And club and sports PGAs are like scheduled into our like time, so no one's gonna schedule club time during PGA time when we have our sports. So you normally don't have a clash.
And to go off of that, the PGA time is from 4 to 6, and everybody has to do that, which is really nice because you don't feel like, oh, I need to be like doing my homework or I need to be doing this or that. Like everybody has the PGA time, whether you're doing a sport or not, you have to be somewhere during that time. So.
Perfect. Caroline Kranich, going off of that, do you want to just explain what some of the other PGA options are? And that's program. Oh gosh, all of a sudden I was like, PGA.
Performance group activity.
Yes. But do you want to explain like what some of the PGA options are, Caroline?
Yeah, definitely. So sports, obviously. Then dance runs the whole year, fall, winter, and spring. Stony Batter, they do plays, a musical in the winter. Mercersburg outdoor education is something I haven't done, but wish I did. I regret that I didn't, but what you can do in that really changes based on the season. It's like rock climbing. I know they have like kayaking and
Mountain biking.
Mountain biking. Yeah, like a ton of different cool things to do. There's also, I know there's like a gardening, like PGA, community engagement. There's so many things to do, so.
Perfect, thanks.
You also don't have to have experience in the PGA to do it. So, like, if you want to play basketball but you don't play basketball, you can play on the JV, like junior varsity team. Or if you've never mountain biked before, you don't need any experience. You just can sign up for that PGA.
And also something that is new this spring actually is that they started offering 2 new internships, an engineering internship and a communications internship. And I'm actually doing the communications one, which although I was not picturing being off campus while doing the communications internship, I'm still really getting involved off campus too. So that's something I really hope Mercersburg continues in the future, is adding more internships and different opportunities for students to get experience.
And to add on to that, if you don't want to do like an active sport in the winter, something you can apply for, you might not get it necessarily, that I did was athletic training. And as somebody who wants to become like a doctor in the future, it was a good experience because I was learning as well as not necessarily participating in an active sport during the winter. So.
Great.
And something else you can do in addition to that, I know it's also an application-based program, but you can also manage a sport or manage dance. And I'm not too familiar with that, but it's similar to what Isonah was talking about, where I think you have to show up for the practice every once in a while and support the team or program best you can. But that's also something you could consider if you're not as into the athletic scene or the acting scene. So.
No matter what you do, though, you have to complete workouts. So even if you're not the most like active person or you don't really know how to work out, the cool thing is they will teach you how to. So they'll bring you into the gym and you'll be with a instructor or trainer, and they'll just kind of teach you like simple things to do, like the form and everything like that. And then they'll give you workouts to complete. So you're not doing anything like crazy, but just to keep you active and healthy.
These are all great answers. I want to, there are two questions that I want to cover real quickly, and then I want to pivot back to classes. I know we're running out of time, but if someone could just highlight real quickly when you would play a musical instrument, if you're in band or orchestra or chorale, when does that mean? Could you play more than one instrument? I don't know if anyone wants to answer that.
I can go. I don't necessarily know a lot about it, but I have a lot of friends that are in band. And I think you meet during the day. It's scheduled as a course or as a class. And I don't know about the instruments, how many instruments you can play. I think normally you just play one unless you're, I don't know. I think you just play one instrument, the one that you're probably the best at. But if somebody else knows.
Yeah, I can build that more. So I was in the string ensemble my first 2 years. But yeah, the school for strings and jazz band, which is kind of an audition-based band group. Those two happened on strings happens Tuesday, Thursday nights from 7 to 8, 8:30. And then jazz band happens 7 to 8 o'clock Wednesday and Thursday nights. Chorale or chorus or yeah, chorale band, they both meet during the day as a scheduled rotation. And the nice thing is the school offers like they bring in teachers from outside, other like local like Shippensburg University. And they teach classes based on your instrument. So you can always actually, the cool thing is you can actually pick up another instrument too. And I do think you can play multiple instruments. So yeah.
Perfect. Someone asked this question, I'll just cover it real quickly, of what community service opportunities there are, and you can do community engagement, it's what we call it, fall, winter, or spring, and sometimes that's just at the local elementary school working with the students after school. Sometimes that's going to Girls Inc. or the Boys and Girls Club, and then there larger school opportunities like the Special Olympics at Whitetail Ski Resort close by, or Field Day in the spring, where a lot of people are involved with activities with the elementary school students that come to campus. So there are a lot of different opportunities every year, kind of just depends on what's available in the community as well. But I want to jump back to classes, and if you guys could quickly talk about, what are your favorite classes, and let's see, what was the other one? Was it hard to adjust to classes? Are classes more discussion based or lecture based? And then, if you feel like you're getting behind in a class, or if it's too hard, what do you do? So let's see, I'll let any one of you jump in.
All right, I'll go. My two favorite classes I'm taking this year, the first one is my springboard. So every senior has to do like a senior project, whether that's in the MAPS program, which I don't really know much about that. So I don't know if I should be the one to talk about it. But the springboard program, you can really choose whatever you want to do. The springboard I'm in is called Parallel Histories. And we've looked at Mercersburg history and how that relates to what was going on in the world at that time. So I did a big project in the fall with my classmates on integration at Mercersburg and co-education at Mercersburg. And then right now I'm working on a project about some men who attended Mercersburg and died in the World War I war effort. So that's just been super interesting. It's really a class that I'm totally guiding. I'm really just reporting back to my teacher to tell him what I've done. So I've really enjoyed that. And then the other class I'm in that I love, it's called the Quinn Ferguson Honors Seminar. And that really is a discussion-based class. We, like as the students in that class, we shape where it goes. So we talk about whatever we want to, whatever's going on in the world, whatever we think's important, just like simply by bringing an article into class and saying, hey, let's talk about this. So I think at Mercersburg too, just in general, the whole discussion-based thing has been really great, and I've really enjoyed that. So.
kind of going off of that too, one of my favorite classes right now, which is, so basically all seniors have to complete a capstone course. So that's Springboard or MAPS. So I'm actually in MAPS, which is a 2-year program, which is Mercersburg's advanced program for global studies. And so the first year of that program is TKB, which is thought, knowledge, and belief. So we read different works from different philosophers and just talk about it. It's really discussion based. We're all sitting around a Harkness table. And then what we're starting now in the spring and will continue into senior year is we work on our search papers, and that can be about pretty much any global issue that we want to. So in the end, it'll be a 40-page research paper, and we will be doing a presentation based on our research there. And something that has traditionally been part of the MAPS curriculum is a travel component. Obviously, it's for global studies. And so our plan was to go to Sweden and Norway this summer to study socialism in those 2 countries. But obviously with everything happening in the world right now, that's pretty up in the air, which I'm really disappointed about, but that would traditionally be part of the MAPS curriculum. And then another one of my favorite classes, like I mentioned before, is Advanced Studio Art. Which is kind of similar to the AP Studio curriculum, except we don't submit work at the end, just so we have the own freedom to really adjust what we want to do and really work on art to produce art that we want to. But then that's also keeping in mind if someone wants to go into art school in the future, we're getting works of art ready to submit a portfolio in the end. So those were probably my top few. I also really love AP US History, just because even though it's an AP class, it's like just discussion based, and we just talk about issues that happened in 1850 and how it's relevant to now, especially since Mercersburg is getting rid of APs next year. I know that classes like that will just be more discussion based because we won't have to follow that strict curriculum, so we can really just dive deep into what we really want to talk about. So yeah, those are my top 3. So
Yeah, to add on to that, I really enjoy my AP World class. The course is like challenging for a 10th grader. Probably 11th and 12th graders have harder courses, but I feel like the course is really fun. The best part about it is actually my teacher is Mr. Bell, and he makes the class so much more enjoyable. We have a lot of discussions, even though we're preparing for like an AP test that we're probably still taking, hopefully, at the end of the year. We have a lot of fun while preparing and studying. So,
If we have time, I can quickly speak to how managing. Wasn't there a question about managing your workload if you're behind?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, all of our participants are still with us, so I think this is valuable.
Okay.
If you guys are okay to stay on for a couple more minutes, I'll
Yeah, of course.
answer these, and then we'll wrap up shortly. So yeah, Ben, please.
Yeah, so I think it's one thing if you are struggling with 1 or 2 homework assignments and you need to go to your teacher for help. But if you see a continuous, you get yourself into a cycle where you're struggling with every homework assignment and you aren't understanding class material, I think it's time to have a conversation with the teacher as well as the academic dean. And from there, I think it's pretty flexible and you can move up or down based on your the rigor of your course. So I know there's honors, AP, and normal courses. So let's say you're in an AP course and it's very, very challenging. I think there's always flexibility to move between classes, especially in math courses, because those can be very challenging. But yeah, I would say it's a pretty flexible and manageable experience for sure.
I also think there's a study center or a student counseling center where you can meet with a faculty member who works in that department and manage your time, get your schedule together, meet with them on a day-to-day basis, and they'll help you figure out where you need help, how you're doing, checking in on you. I think that's also a resource that you could use as well.
Also, I know coming in 9th grade, I was a little worried about how everything was going to work out and who or what the work load was going to be like. But in 9th grade, they really guide you along, and you're never just thrown into anything. Like, the teachers are helping you and they're teaching you because they don't know what background you've had necessarily. So if you're writing a research paper and you've never written a research paper before, the teacher's not just throwing it on you. Like, she will walk you through the process and help you out if you're having struggles either in class, or you can meet with them outside of class.
Awesome. This is great advice. Thanks everyone for chiming in. Oops, sorry. Thanks for all those answers, guys. I would love to give you all one last minute to share words of advice, words of wisdom, anything that's on your mind that you think that these accepted students should know when they're making this final decision. I know that all of you have been here for more than 1 year almost now, but I'm sure you can easily remember what it was like to be in their shoes. And it's especially challenging now because they aren't able to be on campus for our regular revisit days. So any parting words that you want to share with our participants tonight, let you guys take it away. And then for our participants at the end, we'll flash up a slide that has all these students' email addresses on it. So if you have any specific follow-up questions for any of them, I know there was a question for Andrew about choosing between Mercersburg and Petty, and a question, another question for Andrew about the swim team. You're popular tonight, Andrew. And to answer that question, Ron, he would love to be friends with you next year. Ron's gonna be at PG. So yeah, so anyways, email our panelists here, and students, I'll turn it over to you for any final words here.
I would say try to enjoy the decision experience as much as you can, because it's certainly unique. And I would say the best advice I can give is follow your heart. I mean, the decision to go to boarding school is a big one, and it's obviously the place where you're going to be for the next couple of years. So I would say, as long as you go with your gut, you know what you want and need. So as long as you do that, you'll find your true home away from home.
I'd say going with Ben, just don't do what you think is right as much as we want you to be here. It's, what's best for you, but coming from me, I really wanted to come to Mercersburg, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into in a positive way, and it's been one of the most fun experiences. I've literally cried the last 3 nights knowing that I cannot be on campus this year, and just the fact that I miss it that much just shows me how much, or how great of a place and special of a place Mercersburg is.
Go off of Caroline. I think I was going to say, I think what really makes Mercersburg stand out is that everyone, all of my friends, even people I'm not super close with, everyone's sad to not be at Mercersburg right now. And I just think that's a really telling thing to what our school has to offer. So.
Anything else for our participants tonight? You guys have been awesome. I really appreciate you spending this time. I know that you've got homework that you probably have to do. And I know that there's still dorm meetings and dorm hangouts, and we're trying to, do as much as we can to get you feeling like you're at Mercersburg, even though you're not on campus right now. So again, to our participants here, their email addresses, I hope that you'll reach out to them. And this webinar will be up on our Revisit Day website in the next couple of days. So if you wanna go back and watch it again for any particular answers, please do so. And again, I invite you to keep looking at that Revisit Day website. I know that there's new information going up daily. Tomorrow there should be something new about the day in the life at Mercersburg. So again, a big thanks to the participants for spending your evening or morning with us, depending on where you are, and to our panelists tonight. You guys are great. Thanks so much.